Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Study Byte. In this video we are going to discuss about cluster analysis, types of clustering and properties of clustering. So without any delay, let's get started. First of all, let us know what is meant by cluster analysis. Cluster analysis is a technique in data mining where we group similar data points together into a cluster. Here a cluster is nothing but as group. The process of grouping similar data points into one group is nothing but as cluster analysis. Let us understand about clustering by taking an example. Think of an example like we are having a basket full of fruits, and in that basket we are having three different types of fruits. Those are apples, bananas, oranges. And the process of sorting all these three types of fruits into different baskets is nothing but as cluster analysis. That means grouping all apples together into one basket, and similarly grouping all bananas together into one basket, and grouping all oranges together and keeping them in one basket. Here we have formed three baskets, right? Those baskets is nothing but clusters. Here we have formed three clusters, and the objects that are present in one cluster is very similar to each other. That means in basket 1 we are having only apples, and no fruits other than apples are available in basket 1, right? Similarly in basket 2 and basket 3 we are having fruits that are very similar to each other, and here the basket 1 is different from basket 2, which means in basket 1 we are having apples and in basket 2 we are having bananas. Here the objects that are present in basket 1, that means the objects that are present in cluster 1 are very different to the objects present in basket 2, that means cluster 2. Understood? If we take another fruit like a kiwi, that kiwi will not fit into any of the baskets because kiwi fruit is completely different of other fruits. Here the kiwi fruit is nothing but as outlier. Understood? Now let us look into the diagram so that we will still more understand about cluster analysis. Here we have three different types of clusters, and these are the data points. Those are also called as objects. Here the data points present in one cluster are very similar to each other, and similarly the data points present in cluster 2 are very similar to data points that are present in cluster 2, and similarly for cluster 3. But the data points present in cluster 1 is not similar to the data points present in cluster 2. Understand? Which means here cluster 1 is completely different from cluster 2. Let us think that we are having a different point outside. This point will not fit into the any clusters present here, so that point is called as outlier. Understand? Here outlier is nothing but as error. And that is about cluster analysis. In cluster analysis we are having four types. Those are partitioning clustering, hierarchical clustering, density based clustering, and grid based clustering. Here I will be discussing about these four clusters, and these four clusters are very important, so that I will be doing each specific video on each clustering. And here density based clustering is also be called as DB-scan. Understood? In partition clustering we will be dividing data points into many clusters, and in hierarchical we will be using tree based classification, and in density we will be classifying data points based on density, and in grid based we are classifying the data points based on grids. That is nothing but types of clustering. And moving on to the next topic, properties of clustering. Generally these are the properties of clustering. First one, data points inside the same cluster are very similar. I've told, right? Each group is considered as a cluster, and the data points or objects that are present in each group is very similar to each other, right? This is the first property of clustering. And the second one is data points from different clusters are very different. Here the data points of one cluster will be very different from the data points of other cluster. This is the second property of clustering. The third property is clustering is unsupervised learning technique. Here unsupervised learning is nothing but a process where only the inputs is given to the model, but the outputs will not be given, but as in supervised, we will be giving both inputs and outputs, right? Here clustering is an unsupervised learning technique. And next one is clustering uses distance formula to decide which data points are closed. Let us take an example, like we are having some data points, and our main goal is to form clusters with that data points. And to form clusters with that data points, we will be mainly using distance formula. We will be discussing many problems of how to make data points into clusters, and in that you will be understanding. Just now remember that for clustering data points we use distance formula, and in later classes we will be discussing problems. In that problems you will get an idea that how we will be using distance formula. These are the properties of clustering. Understand. And moving on to the next one, advantages of clustering. Generally, clustering is used for better understanding of data. By clustering, we may easily remove outliers, and that is the second advantage of clustering. And by using clustering, we will be making decision in very improved manner, and clustering is very widely used. These are the 4 advantages of clustering. And applications of clustering. Generally, clustering is used in many applications, in many real world applications, but I have listed only some of them, and those are customer segmentation. By observing customer buying patterns and their behaviors, we will be classifying customers into clusters, so that our market analysis growth will be high. And the second one is healthcare and medicine. Here, grouping the diseases into one cluster by using their symptoms is one of the application of clustering, right? And the third one is banking and finance. Here clustering helps in fraud detection and risk management. And also clustering in banking helps identify customer spending patterns and detect unusual or fraud transactions. In this way, clustering helps in banking. And the fourth one is recommendation systems. If we think of recommendations, we will be first getting about Netflix and Amazon and YouTube and Spotify into mind, right? Which means here the clustering happens. It suggests movies, videos and songs based on similar user behavior. Which means here in Netflix we will be watching movies, and that movies according to our behavior, some movies will be recommended, and that customer behavior will be sync with other customers with similar user behavior. And this is one of the way where clustering is used. And this is about cluster analysis. In this video we have discussed about cluster analysis, the types of clustering and properties of clustering, advantages and applications of clustering. That's all for today's video. In the next video I'll be discussing about partitioning clustering. Until then, stay tuned. If you like this video, please like, share, comment and subscribe to StudyByte. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.